Hello, everyone. I'm Tommy. Thank you, Denson. Thank you. Thank you. Um, let's relax. Let's relax. All right. So I'm Tommy. I do a lot of like content, go-to-market, brand work for Tally. So my job is basically to talk about DAOs, write about DAOs, think about DAOs. So why we organize on chain, the new era of human organization. We're gonna go like into like a kind of a brief meta history of DAOs and human organization, and then kind of use that as a lead into why real DAOs operate on chain, but also talk about different types of organizations, proto DAOs, not fully on chain organizations, and then also like why real on chain DAOs matter, but why also other types of organizations matter as well. So we'll start. Why do humans organize? The human experience is uniquely defined by our proclivity to organize in groups to achieve more than we can achieve by ourselves. Some reasons to organize: status, leverage, safety, connection, operational efficiency, working better in a group, collective power, and of course, money, which is probably the strongest driving factor in recent years. A brief organizational history. This is a few pieces from here and points from here are taken from an absolutely amazing piece. It's about a 35 page long research paper on the prehistory of DAOs back in 2021 from Gnosis Guild. So you can kind of see, I like to take it back in the next slide. You'll see like thousands and thousands of years ago. Just the human experience from like a kinship clan tribe, a hierarchical institution, thinking army church. So back in the early days, it's primarily based around hierarchical structures. And then with the introduction of capitalism and open markets, you have your competitive market where it's not necessarily a hierarchy in the sense of the way it functions, but competition is driving everything. And then now here we are with the multi-org network, as you can kind of see the way the graphs work there. But there's been a progressive shift, as you can see, from a hierarchy structure into a more competitive exchange to structures of collaboration, which is where DAOs live in, defined by collaboration and collectives. And as that has progressed, information technology and the on-chain infrastructure have risen in tandem with the evolution of network-based organization. Think early internet and gaming guilds catalyzing online networks focused around digital goods, small scattered autonomous groups. Important to understand the history of orgs and on-chain's ethos to build a strong case for organizational prominence. And this is all very important as we move towards why on-chain DAOs are important. Physical roots guide a digital future. The current digital organizational arena is fertilized by thousands of years of meat space organization. Think town squares, offices, forums. I love this graph, 100,000 years of Homo sapien organization, probably even more than that. You can take it all the way back to caveman days, hunter-gatherer days. And you can kind of just boil it down to all of that built on top, or on-chain infra built on top of that, and then you have DAOs sprouting from that as well. Something I liked that Azim talked about earlier on is not throwing away the history of human organization. I think, especially with a lot of younger people coming in to DAOs, as you probably all know, I think this is an older crowd, which is good. A lot of my fellow Zoomers don't know how to operate professionally, and don't know how to organize professionally, and I think education and understanding why and where we come from is very important in regards to the success of DAOs. So the on-chain ethos, which is kind of why we're all here and what drives DAOs and DAO formation. Digitally native orgs building digitally native brands with digitally native coworkers. That kind of, in my opinion, drives it all, or puts it all into one sentence. But also DAOs are not confined to the digital space. Like as you mentioned earlier, I think it's important to kind of meld the physical organizational realm with the on-chain realm as well. A great quote from that prehistory of DAOs. DAO comes from imagining how features of decentralized technology, such as global digital assets, censorship resistance, and automated actions will change how organizations operate. If you remember anything, remember that little quote right there, because that is basically what is driving this entire DAO movement. All right, here's a good example. As I was working on this presentation, a conversation from two of my mutuals on Twitter, or X. We're talking about why on-chain, why the rails are better. Great start tweet from Reza, who works for Reflexer. If you learn about crypto before you learn about traditional finance, it makes you realize how flimsy TradFi is. And then Dana responded, learning about and building on top of trapped rails is what cemented my crypto conviction. The tech is simply better. And then I don't have it there, but I made him respond and kind of expand upon it. But if you just want to read it, you can. I'm pretty sure most of us here understand why the rails are better, why it's quicker, why it's faster, and why it's starting to replace arcane systems. Technological revolution enables iteration on organizational structures. A keyword iteration. I don't like the revolution is good in the sense of the technological sense, but again, building on that graph, hundreds and thousands of years of organization, what works with humans, and then building a system on top of that to make it better. There's a negative meta around trad tech, which is, I think, good. That's why we have new tech, but that negative meta seeps into meta on organization and erodes a rich foundation of coordination, which I just mentioned. So when forming a DAO, which we're going to get to, we're going to go through the entire process and then get into the on-chain DAO. Successful DAOs must coalesce around a shared expression of on-chain vibes and execution to be successful. I think a lot of DAOs forget that first step, and then in the end, that's what leads to a lot of harm. Ooh, I keep hitting this. Taking the time to determine the vibe structure prior to building is important. I think a lot of people, I mean, a big part of vibes is not really, making, putting things to paper or making it super official, but I think having someone or some group in an organization to determine that vibe structure is important to building that strong foundation at the bottom. Shared vibes, intent to build, and then when you're ready to build, leveraging that on-chain stack. Not every org needs to be a DAO, and that's okay. That's kind of the point we'll get to at the end. There's lots of different types of organizations. There's a full on-chain DAO. There's stuff in between. It's okay if you don't want to be a full on-chain DAO, but we'll get to some points around why it's important to know what you are and not misname yourself. Online organizations are plentiful and thriving, but real DAOs run on-chain. Title of this entire presentation. You have proto DAOs, which is kind of a middle ground between just your group chat, your just group of people who want to achieve something, and then that intent to build stage. You're not fully on chain yet, but you're getting ready to move on chain. You got group chats, Discord servers, all different types of things, Telegram groups. Those are potentially right to turn into a DAO, but misnaming creates harm. Like I said, understanding the difference protects participants from misinformed organizational rights that can lead to financial loss and users exiting the on-chain ecosystem completely. I think that's really important for this room because I think we all understand what a real DAO is and what a DAO or on-chain DAO can be, but I think there is a big stigma around DAOs because people don't fully understand what they are, and the people that fully don't understand what they are sometimes call themselves a DAO when they're not, and a lot of us get very frustrated because that gives us a bad rep. So when you are ready to go on chain and build on chain, luckily we're building on the shoulders of giants right now. There's still a lot of pain points and things we're working through, but a lot has already been laid. The foundation has already been laid. A quick history, if you're not familiar, there's a lot of extra credit and sources at the end that you can dive into at the end of this, but we could talk for hours about the history of DAOs. But quick history timeline. First real iteration is the DAO, and then shortly after the DAO hack, MakerDAO comes from that. You got Aragon, DAOstack's work, Moloch DAO, Metacartel, DAO House, Metacartel Ventures, which was the founder of Moloch, Compound Finance, which we're going to talk a lot about. The governor framework came from that. Karma DAO, Collab Land, Snapshot, Flamingo DAO, etc. There's tweets from back in like 2021. Sends them some big names. Gitcoin's not up there, but Gitcoin is one of them as well. Arbitrum DAO, Uniswap, Aave, ENS, Pull Together, Hop DAO. Just those 5 or 6 is over $3 billion in treasury value on governor DAOs, on-chain DAOs. So the DAO standard, which in my opinion, and I think a lot of people's opinions, and if you just look on-chain, is the governor framework. The vast majority of on-chain organizations use the governor framework. All the ones that were listed on the right of that graphic use governor. Governor is the framework that was created by Compound to launch their DAO on-chain. It's comprised of 3 simple contracts, token, governor. Those 2 are required. Time lock is not optional, but those are the 3 main contracts. Completely audited and maintained by Open Zeppelin. It's been battle tested. It is the framework for on-chain DAOs, and it is the framework that Tally supports. Modular, you can make it as simple or as complex as you want. It's an open library. People are constantly building on top of it and adding new functions. compatible with ERC20 and ERC721 token contracts, and it's secure as fuck, very secure. Flourishing ecosystem of tooling systems that support Governor and DAO functionality. I already mentioned that. It's never been easier to run on chain, which is why I think as people responded, real DAOs run on chain is not that spicy anymore because it's very easy to do. Couple graphics on how it works. Simple to deploy Governor contract. Tally a lot of resources, 20-minute video, start to finish, deploying a contract on chain, setting it up on Tally, and running a DAO. It's very, very simple. Distribute your tokens to your community. Enjoy on-chain governance. That simple. A little deeper dive into how it works. You have your token contract that are compatible with Governor, track token balances, any token contract, tracks delegation, voting power, etc. Transfers over to the Governor contract, create and vote proposals, uses voting power from token contract, forwards past proposals to time lock, and then successful proposals go into that time lock. DAOs can have exit strategies as well if they need to, and then it's executed on chain. Again, this is completely simplified if you ever want to use Tally into just a few clicks of the mouse, but that's how it works. So quick Governor Redux. The ecosystem has more than $5 billion in DAO treasuries controlled by Governor DAOs. Over 10,000 actions have been executed. More than 14 million addresses able to participate in Governor DAOs, and it's deployed on basically every EVM chain that is out there. State of on-chain tooling, this is just a few, so if I don't name one of your favorites, I'm sorry, but there's a lot. Tally, Aragon, Snapshot, Agora, Joke Race, now entire ecosystem, 0x splits, all of these are able to be used with Governor. So yeah, pretty cool. So brings me to kind of the overarching problem of all this. I don't know if Yana's in the audience, but she is, yeah. A great tweet from her earlier this week. Making DAOs work is not a smart contract problem, it's a social problem. The tech is here and it's robust, so use it. It's that simple. I think a lot of the scams and problems that we run into in crypto, a lot of the takes on Twitter come back to, why aren't we using the tech that we're out here for? And on-chain DAOs is, in my opinion, like the most obvious there. Modern DAO failures stem from human control failures, lack of education, and misaligned vibe structures. As I mentioned earlier, that vibe structure, or that shared on-chain value structure, is the most important part of running an on-chain DAO. Humans will always be complex, an organization more so. Refusal or ignorance of battle-tested on-chain infra is a tragedy easily avoidable. And then this was kind of the thesis of the entire thing when I was writing, a little bit melodramatic, but humans yearn for creation, but the inherent hubris of man requires harnessing technology to abstract as much hubris away while allowing the beauty of human collaboration to flourish. We're at the beginning of a parabolic evolution of human coordination, and ground zero is on chain. Problems are rampant, the process is painful, but nothing worth building is without pain. Continue to build, continue to grow. See you on chain. And then some sources and extra reading if you want to dive deeper. That's like a solid 10 to 15 hours of reading if you want to dive in into anything I said. And yeah, thank you. If you want to follow me, reach out. I'll be here all week and today. And if you want some free Tally merch, I got a bunch with me today. Yeah, go back. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Good.
Thank you.